All right, coming to the stage next, we have Jess Sherman.
Why didn't anybody tell me? I was about 4 years into my clinical nutrition practice when I was sitting with Sarah in my office and she said those 5 words to me. It was a hot day and it was August and she was talking about her 8-year-old son. He's slipping away from me and I don't know what else to do to help him. Tom had ADHD and mild autism, and they had known for about 4 years that something was going on with him, and they had done what felt like everything. But Tom was getting more aggressive, and he was anxious, and he was angry. And the worst part about it was that he was starting to talk about himself as though he was bad and stupid. There is nothing worse than seeing your child struggle and not knowing how to help them. And there was nothing I wanted more at that moment than to help steer this child in a different direction and ease the stress of that mother. What I have to talk about today is about our kids, but even if you don't have kids or you don't work with kids, the gap this generation is falling through affects all of us. ADD, ODD, IEPs, over 70% of the time, mental health issues surface in childhood, and those brave souls working in health and education are stuck playing a game of whack-a-mole for years, trying to keep these kids afloat and manage their symptoms. Kids like Tom were one of the reasons I left teaching about a decade ago, not because I didn't want to teach him, but because I wanted to better understand his experience. I knew everyone was doing the best they could to help him, and I also knew that Tom's teacher could have been a 10-foot gorilla dancing the can-can up on the desk and still wouldn't have captured his attention. I left to study health and nutrition because I had a hunch we were missing something. Turns out my hunch was right. Turns out what's going on in the brain has everything to do with what's going on in the body. It turns out that we have microbes pulling the strings of our emotions just as much as we have experience. And it turns out when kids feel better, they function better. And it turns out kids like Tom are on fire on the inside because their stress is outweighing their ability to handle it. Helping parents reduce stress while at the same time improving their stress tolerance using complete nutrition is a process I call raising resilience. And it's not about learning more stuff, it's about getting back to the basics. Healthy eating, healthy connecting, healthy living. When I told Sarah that we could influence how Tom was feeling by changing how he was feeling in his body, she sat up because this made sense. There was a good kid in there and that kid could thrive. Why didn't anyone tell me after all the work trying to understand his anger, trying to shift his behavior, and they had missed the underlying maintenance work of improving the health of his body. So she took this information back to her doctor, and here's what happened. Sarah, he has ADHD. You got to feed him whatever he'll eat. Not going to make a difference. Integrating this piece, this critical piece, of nourishment into how we treat learning and mood and behavior issues in kids is exhausting work for parents, and we can't expect them to do it alone. Every day, we are faced not only with disbelief, but with flat-out sabotage and even outrage, because we're busting through a paradigm. For centuries, we've been told that the brain and the body have nothing at all to do with each other. But protecting and nourishing our kids is our future. So let's rise to this challenge and let's install parents as the confident and knowledgeable CEOs of their family's health, courageously supporting resilience. That's the future of health, and no parent should be left behind wondering, why didn't anyone tell me? Thank you.
That's right, Jess Sherman.